Approaching buzzing helicopter for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. Here he comes. Buzzing my house deliberately so they fly in proximity. Here he comes. There he goes. Couldn't someone get a visual on there, what? Here he comes. Your taxes for Satan's LAPD. Law enforcement vehicles to buzz me with holographic helicopters. There he goes, there he goes, there he goes.
When it dealt with Preston, he started the process after Al Bielek got a hold of us. And what happened was we'd be lined up in front of Al Bielek. And Al Bielek would go through and sense every individual child to see what level of psychic abilities they had. And the kids that didn't have psychic abilities would be fed to the Draco as per the tech that we got a hold of. And these Draco were basically just a group of mercenary Draco. So they had no ties to the Empire overall. But what it was is they were just a group of mercs that wanted to get fed, and we wanted their tech.
Possible incoming buzz. Sounds like a buzz for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. What are the chances of him flying overhead for me to see? Here he comes. Here he comes. Direct overhead. Direct overhead. Your Texas. Your Texas. You may have just seen it there. That's a direct overhead. Direct overhead. There he goes. Direct overhead. Direct overhead. Direct overhead for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. That is in fact a buzz for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies, exposing that we have these serpents from the Garden of Eden that God said, eat the dust. Dust shall you eat all the days of your life. Adam was made of the dust. Guess what? They eat us. It's where the vampire legends come from, in part. Because I think there's also real vampires. But these reptilians live among us. They rule us from the shadows. That's why they are behind all this evil bullshit.
So what's happened to the autopsy, Ryan?
Well, Anthony Fauci told our government to tell people don't do autopsies on COVID patients. You cannot find that for which you do not look. I have a post 9-year-old on my desk, dead. I don't want to see one more child post ever on my desk. Are the autopsies starting to happen? You bet they are, finally, because people are saying, well, why wouldn't we do them? And in that same town from which this 9-year-old died, a healthy 22-year-old wrestler, after his third is now also coming to be on my desk so I can determine the cause of death there. We're told don't do autopsies, don't look, and that's what your government is giving you for data. Don't ask, don't tell, don't look.
In the police station, when he was being held down and the sergeant came over, he said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile, and then came back to human and then shapeshifted again and returned. So then when you talk to insiders and when you look back at the texts that talk about the fact that this serpent race exists in planes unknown to man, just outside his frequency range, then there is a gathering mass of evidence.
Helicopter approaching. Is it a high flyer? High altitude?
Here it comes, black and white LAPD. Your taxes for Los Angeles Police Department helicopters to gang stalk harass for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies for everyone to see. These non-humans that live among us. It's the serpents from the Garden of Eden, friends. The Bible isn't lying to us. It's the serpents from the Garden of Eden. They're still here and they're still eating us. If you sin, they eat. And they're keeping us all like in a slave-like state. See, look at this guy circling around. Okay, so the question is, why is he circling? So he's already made one circular pattern right here. It's coming again. See, is there a criminal in the area? Here he comes, your taxes. Your taxes. Circling around again. Here he comes. Your taxes. Direct overhead, circling direct overhead. Gang stalk harassment for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube because they are reptilians and they eat people. And they don't want anybody exposing the fact that all of us, everyone you see around here, we're all a bunch of duped slaves. And the duped slaves help keep the other duped slaves in line because they've been brainwashed against this topic. Because they choose to serve Satan. Look at this guy, see, he's on the second. Circle around. There he goes.
And they definitely liked it if they could push you further and further. How many kids went through the program? Countless numbers. I would just look at the amount that died. And it probably way more died. There was way more than that died. You know, and the ones that died that were too far irradiated because of the chair, when we were kids, we would have to carry them out. Normally it would take 2 kids to carry another child's dead body out, and we would put them in yellow barrels. They were yellow barrels, they weren't black, and we would just drop them in the barrels, fill them up. If we didn't obey and get in the chair, Preston specifically would bring us into the feeding room, what I knew as a feeding room. Originally it wasn't as refurbished as it was later, but it was just a room with 4 corners. You would walk in there and there would be just piles of dead bodies. You would have a pile of dead bodies that were clothed, and then you would have a pile where they were unclothed and naked, and then you would have a pile where they would tear their heads off and put the headless bodies into a corner, and then you would have another pile where they were feeding. And then you had a pile of all the clothes that were discarded. And then normally there was a table that was set up on the very far right-hand side that you would be brought in and electrocuted if you weren't obedient enough in the training process in front of the Draco while you got to watch them eat your own people. You were food if you didn't obey, but there were some there. There was some that were nice, I guess. Not really nice, just none of them wore clothing. Some of them had battle armor on when they attacked the base in 2014. And there was an alpha along with them. There was one Draco that was, I think, considered a helper class Draco.
Here he comes. There's the moon. Here he goes. Your taxes.
I knew immediately that this tall being was not a human.
The reptile race that we're talking about manipulates humanity and has done for thousands of years.
They are inhuman.
What she then saw was Heath shift into a reptilian form and grow about 2 feet.
Your taxes for Los Angeles Police Department helicopter gang stalkers, reptilians, that they use as psychological warfare. There he is. Thought-based buzz. So I was thinking about writing a flyer about how I was discriminated against at the Starbucks at the Topanga Plaza. And as soon as I did, this helicopter rolled out, which is a hologram. It's not actually a real helicopter. Here he comes. Your taxes, here he comes, your taxes. Direct overhead. It's a hologram. It's not actually a real helicopter because I can't get it out that fast. I know that sounds crazy. I lost sight of him in the camera. There he is. But they buzz me day and night for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies. Believe it or not, I know that sounds crazy. It would sound crazy to me if it didn't happen to me personally. And they also have a AI hooked up to your mind. And another guy made a movie about this. It's called he called it Mog's Machine Operated Gang Stalking. And what it is there's a thing that they have hooked up to your mind. I know this sounds crazy. And what they'll do is if you have certain thoughts that they want to continuously harass you or steer you against, they will, as soon as that thought enters your mind, they will fly. All of a sudden you'll hear the startup of a chopper coming, and it starts louder. It's all psychological warfare. The other thing they'll buzz me for is violent thoughts. So I'll be thinking of punching somebody out. And also, and your thoughts are not your own. They'll know if you're. This is why I would encourage you not to commit crime, because they'll know. That's why people that are thinking about committing a crime, they have a radar that's going out over all the people that are there. And if they pick up somebody who's about to embark, they're thinking about just thinking about it, a criminal act. They'll have a helicopter flying over, and they won't do this ordinarily, but only like somebody that's like probably about to do it because they don't want to overuse it. But they've had this mind-reading technology. Talk about a violation of privacy. I know it firsthand that they're actually rolling out holographic helicopters for this, because for years they would buzz me right before I would come home, or right after, or right before entering an establishment, like to try to, to like warn me away from going in, or just make me feel like. A lot of TIs, a lot of targeted individuals have reported that they try to cut you off from society and to make you feel isolated. So that's what they do. And but there's no way that they could roll out a helicopter that quickly with the fuel and logistics and everything else right as I enter my home, or right as I enter an establishment. And that's how I figured out for sure that the John Lear testimony, you can see him on Project Camelot, who she now has a Carrie Cassidy Project Camelot. She now has a private site that you actually have to pay to get on, because they deleted her channel from YouTube. More censorship. But he testifies that they have holographic everything, including helicopters, that you cannot tell the difference night or day.
I'm thinking that the airplanes that crashed into the World Trade Center were holographs. And he said, John, you're probably right, and here's why. He said, just before I retired, I was driving down on the Bayshore Freeway to Sunnyvale, and he said I had a friend in the right seat of the car, and he says, like it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 8:15. He said, we're driving south, and we saw this shadow, and we looked up, and here, he says, it wasn't a 747, but it was a huge 4-engine airplane. It wasn't 200 feet above us. And he said, we looked out and looked at this thing, and he said, of course, we're 20 miles from San Jose, and 30 miles from San Francisco. There's no possible way an airplane could, legitimately be flying right there. And he says we watched it for about 10 seconds and it went just like you turned a light bulb out. And he said if that was the contemporary holograph presentation of a holograph, he says, then you're right. And the holographic technology is so far advanced that people just wouldn't believe it.
Here comes a buzz, here comes a buzz. Your taxes for Los Angeles Police Department helicopters to buzz me day and night for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. Here comes direct overhead. There he is. Your taxes, friends. There he goes. Black and white LAPD. Your taxes for Los Angeles Police Department helicopters to buzz over me day and night as a psychological warfare.
It's a swarm of pigeons. It's a swarm of pigeons.
Alright guys, look at this leak in my Jeep here. It just pours in. I thought it was coming from up here, but it turns out it's coming from right over here. And I got my own lake. Man, I can start fishing and everything. Look at how much that's well over a gallon. Yeah, the rumors of storms in California are greatly exaggerated. It's not that heavy. I tried making videos like this. When it's raining, it doesn't work. I mean, especially for like scriptural movies. I mean, it makes way too much noise, irritating noise in the background. But you can make spontaneous videos like this, which, alright. So yeah, this time period has been really rough for me. I've been getting, now I think it's because there's like I don't know if it's just me, but I think like here in California, I noticed it kind of went away when I went to travel to other parts of the country. But get like these black moods, and I think it's like a dark spirit here that attacks you. And I used to love the rain, and I still do, but now I don't like it nearly as much. In fact, sometimes I hate it, especially when you're homeless, because everything's worse. You always have a leak. I can't get away from leaks. I managed to get this thing, my RV hasn't been leaking. Now my car has a leak. I might possibly have it under control. I doubt it. What it is there's a leak that comes under, it leaks into the passenger side footrest area. Luckily that's not super critical, like I can keep stuff out of there, but if I put stuff there it all gets soaked. I thought I had it solved before, now I had to move everything out of there again. Hit it, try to solve the problem once again. I put all this caulk in these various areas, but who knows if I got it in the rain. It's so heavily now. I can almost guarantee it's probably there's water leaking into it. But in any case, yeah, I just want to tell you guys that this you can get these really hard spells where things are really going wrong, and you get this really black mood. I get this really black mood. And it just feels like I can't find the fun anymore, and I even get so fed up that I have trouble praying. And I'll even like, when I start noticing myself getting into a bad attitude, I just say, whoop, I gotta stop here because, you know, now other people may argue that, you know, that's the time of year to pray even harder, but what happens to me is, and this is, I'm totally confessing a weakness here, you know, being off, being wrong, being, you know, whatever you want to call it, failed, but I get rebellious. I have a rebellious feeling. I feel like God is, you know, because I know God's in control of everything, and I'm not, it's not that I'm blaming him or saying there's anything wrong with God. It's what happens is I get this, the Ned Flanders moment, you know, that one where like he sees enough of this house that they rebuilt for him after his house got demolished because of a storm, and he's like, crap, and he gets like really mad. That's kind of like what happens to me, except I think I'm probably weak in that regard. I just get mad, you know. I just think, damn, it seems like I can't win for losing here. Tired of this poverty, tired of this homelessness, tired of people, you know, coming against me and just, you know, it seems like nothing works. And then this rain comes, and it's like somehow the damp air and the situation just, and so I really find myself kind of losing it sometimes and just getting, you know, really angry and fed up, and just wanting to let you know it happens to me, you know. Because what happens a lot of times with video and somebody who's talking about God is it kind of paints this perfectly patient, godly person sort of image. Not that I'm trying to do that, but it can look like that. And I wanted to let you know that I have, you know, plenty of failure, plenty of downtime, plenty of time when I doubt. I even have a cheat, as I've been telling you guys. I mean, it's not just meeting those angels. I mean, I knew a lot of things in advance, and I mean, even with that, I just have total failure of faith, total falling down, just really feeling despaired, really feeling angry, really feeling fed up, really feeling rebellious against my Creator that controls all of this. So how stupid is that? And then just the feeling of despair about that stupidity and problem on my part. But I want to let you know it happens to me, and what you got to do is you know, you just pick up and keep going, keep praying, keep talking with confidence to God. You know, I know ultimately you're behind me. I know that, you know, in the end, you know, you may be punishing me for my failures now, for my sins now, but ultimately you're behind me. Ultimately you'll help me. Ultimately you'll be for me, and because of that I will win in the end. And yeah, right now I'm getting like a lot of attack. I just got attacked massively. I just went out for a little while to do a few things, and I was planning on coming back to the RV here, and it's been an all day of attack. Even when I came back here, I got attacked, and I won't go into details, but just, you know, like, it just people that are filled with Satan attacking, and because they're pissed, you know, they're particularly mad at me right now for my last movie, and everything, you know, weird paranormal stuff too, like, you know, electronics and stuff coming against me. But I got to keep in mind the positive, you know. I will say one thing that's been a kind of a cool thing. I mentioned this before, but just for including a rock song. Now, YouTube had froze me at 77,000 subscribers. I mean, I was frozen solid there for well over a year. I don't know how long it's been. I mean, clearly frozen there. And but because I included a rock song, this one song, whoever manages the music for Billy Idol, you know, whoever owns that music and makes the profits on YouTube or whatever, something or other. But no question, I got this huge boost, and I got 12,000 subscribers added as a result of that. And then they locked me again at 89,000, and you may have noticed it dipped down to 88. But that's 12,000 subscribers from when I was utterly frozen. But that came in like less than a week. It just went, and then they locked it down again. But and also movies about that bombshell about the Queen, witness about the Queen shape-shifting and eating children and these rituals and everything, got massive views, over 100,000 views. Others got 50,000, 60,000 views, which is huge for my channel. So you got to count the victories when they come. But boy, those reptoids are not exactly happy with me, and so you know, you can expect blowback. And boy, whew, I've been getting it. And I also had some failures. I think that I may have done something to demonize myself by watching some kind of media, and this can happen, you know. But you know, got just when the sign comes, whoop, repent, quit, pick yourself up, even if you got to take the punishment for a few weeks more or whatever it is that you had to pay for it, or forever. Some, like I said, some of these punishments that forever, till the day you're delivered. Just I learned that, you know, you can pray and pray for God for forgiveness and mercy, you know, on some punishment that you've been given, but some of them, they're right up until you get the redeemed flesh. And so you know, that's why you got to be careful. But Scripture says reproofs of instruction are the way of life, Proverbs 6:23. So you couldn't be on the path of life if you weren't making mistakes, which is sinning, which you needed to be reproved for and turn from. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So you couldn't be on the way of life if you weren't also making these failures. So just realize that. Realize God is still with you. You know, pick yourself up. Keep going. Don't let it get you down. You know, or if you do get down, just, you know, be patient, wait it out, keep doing the best you can, and when your spirits get picked up, get back on track and get things rolling. If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, please save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.
This is a war on religion. This is a war on the children. They kill with a sickness.